Pleased to be joined now by Olympic gold medalist Kristi Yamaguchi.
Came back to Europeans, was second there to her teammate Zagitova.
Hello everyone, Liam McHugh alongside Olympic medalist Scott Hamilton and Tath White.
And it changes the rotation axis of the jump. Alina Zagitova, same thing, overhead, both arms in the triplets, and it's just so much harder to be able to control the rotation, and that's why these Russian women have been able to be so dominant in skating right now, because they're doing things, honestly, not many other people can do, and it's a really tough thing, and it changes the event.
We're going to take a closer look at the Russian rivalry that's brewing in the ladies' event.
Alina Zagitova, it has been a meteoric rise for this young 15-year-old from Russia. We talked about the pressure that she can place on Medvedeva. An incredibly dominant performance. This is the first major senior event Medvedeva has lost. A change in the course of ladies competition heading towards PyeongChang.
Alina Zagitova has started. Fasten your seatbelts.
You share the same coach, the same practice facility, and then that's your biggest rival for your ultimate goal.
And they both skated incredibly.
If I was Yevgenia Medvedeva, I'd be very worried.
So we already have been spending a lot of time talking about what a difficult job it was for the judges separating the top two in ice dance. Now we go to the ladies, and you look at the Russians and Zagitova and Medvedeva. How difficult of a job is it going to be for the judges here?
Oh my gosh. By the numbers, it's almost impossible in the short program. I mean, you look at Zagitova having the slight edge on the technical side of things, and then Medvedeva having the higher component scores in the short program so far this year. And when you put those two numbers together in terms of their best this season, it almost evens out perfectly with Medvedeva having just the slightest of edge.
Can I just throw in the psychological element, please?
Please.
Because, you know, here's Medvedeva, who's been undefeated for 2 years, and when first time I saw her, it's like, how do you beat that? I mean, come on, that's ridiculous. She's never missed a jump in her life, you know, all these things that make her kind of perfect. She's doing all these incredible things, and then Zagitova comes along, and it's like, how do you beat that? And when you train with your biggest rival day in, day out, you have the same coach, you do all these things, and then all of a sudden you go to the European Championships and you get beat short and long. If you're Medvedeva, you haven't lost the competition, you lose the short and the long program to your rink mate. And it's, what does that do to somebody psychologically? It's like, wait a minute, no, I'm the world champion. What are you doing?
Well, she did.
This is my house.
Yevgenia did have in the back of her mind, too, that she was still coming back from injury. So, presuming she's had a little more time now in the few weeks since the European Championships, feeling 100%, as far as we can tell. It certainly looked that way in the team event. So, maybe there is a little more gas in the tank, so to speak. Maybe she can give more and take over.
Do you think momentum matters that much at this point?
Well, who's got the momentum? I mean, you saw them both in the team competition, and they were perfect, you know. And that's what when this is kind of the anchor sport to the Winter Olympic Games, the ladies' final, and when you have two skaters like this who are consistent, extraordinary, different in their approach, you know, and you got Medvedeva, and she's very dramatic, and it's this, you know, and then you've got Zagitova, who's just grounded in the classics and exquisite. I mean, they're both, I mean, amazing to watch. It's just going to be to come down, who's going to hit the levels, and they're so consistent. Who's going to hit the jumps with flow? Who's going to captivate? Who's going to, you know, win over? You know, how do you, it's just going to be really fun to watch.
Well, and in the free skate, those scores come into play a little bit more because Zagitova does have a significant edge over Medvedeva in the technical side of things because she backloads her program, meaning that she puts
100%.
every single one of her jumping passes in the second half of the program. It's really interesting to see. It's not what you're used to when you're watching. You see just no jumps in the first half of the program, just pure skating, and then jump, 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 jump. Now I'm getting ahead of myself. That's the free skate. The short program is bound to be next neck and neck.
But she's great enough to pull it off. That's it's extraordinary what these two young Russian women are doing, and it's I'm a huge fan.
All right, so those are the Russians, and they're expected to contend for gold.
You know, it's the top two are pretty set. It's just who's going to get in there for the third.
Yeah, if you go by season's best, beyond the top two.
15-year-old training mate Alina Zagitova has emerged as a challenger.
Well, and what we're looking for in the ladies' short program as far as the benchmark scores are concerned, 65 to 74 is good, 74 to 80 is great, and 80 plus is Russian. Russia is going to be a major talking point through this entire event.
Let's look ahead to the headliners, and they are from Russia. Yevgenia Medvedeva, Alina Zagitova. Boy, that is some kind of showdown that we're going to see here in the short program.
Undefeated until recently for a reason. Versus Загитова, who Tara's going to talk about in a second.
And you know this, I love to make a prediction. I'm so torn on if it's going to go to Zagitova or Medvedeva. Within the last 3 weeks, the world of skating has been turned upside down with these two skaters. Zagitova doesn't really know what's going on yet. I talked to her coach, and she's like, she's more excited to see the McDonald's at the Village than actually be out there skating. Medvedeva definitely knows that her gold medal is on the line, but Zagitova has a harder technical program, and she has this very beautiful essence on the ice, a little bit different than the more mature Yevgenia, but they're both so good.
So compare those numbers, too, here to the short program.
So the technical base, as you can see, goes to Alina Zagitova, but for the component score, the artistic score, that goes to Medvedeva.
Now, of course, we're talking as if these two are shoe-ins for gold and silver, which, from the outside looking in, they are. It's going to come down to the performance on the day, but what's wonderful about this is that their rivalry and their skating transcends any conversation of bias, of national, cheering on for your country. These skaters are so special that you can overlook all of that and enjoy the best athletes in the world.
But by no means is it given that they'll finish 1-2. I know that's the conventional wisdom, and that is the morning line odds, but certainly anything can happen at the Olympics, and neither one of them really lost in the last couple of years until they went head-to-head recently, and it was Загитова who got the better end of that. Training mates share the same coach, Eteri Tuparidze. Not a whole lot of talking going on. We've seen more talking between the two, though, at the Olympics this week than I think we've seen in quite some time. We'll see how it plays out. Do you remember any specific phrase or word that your coach would say to you?
Galina Zagitova would always say, "S Bogom," with God, because that's in his hands at those points.
All right, moving ahead to the heavy hitters, though, in the final group, everyone is expecting a showdown between the Russians, but she will be challenged by Alina Zagitova. I mean, she has really come on strong.
And, Zagitova's win at the European Championships just means that she's perfecter. You don't think anybody can beat Medvedeva, but man, Загитова just has got everything she needs, and the way she's planned her programs to be able to defeat this two-time world champion.
Well, they've shown some friendliness off the ice. We'll see what happens today in that last group.
Let's join Kenneth White.
Well, with so much buzz around that fight for those top spots, overwhelmingly likely between Yevgenia Medvedeva and Alina Zagitova.
80 plus is essentially just Russia.
The Russians.
It's been tough for the U.S. so far. Still got that Russian rivalry to come. Alina Zagitova, the 15-year-old, could become an Olympic champion. Yevgenia Medvedeva, though, her rival standing in her way. As we look ahead to that final group, they can, but you still got that last group still to come, and you've got the top names with the Russians, the two rivals who came in as the two favorites here. And certainly it's not a given that they're going to finish 1-2, but they're the two best in the world right now. Yevgenia Medvedeva has been for the last couple of years. Alina Zagitova right there with her.